Greetings, I'm Professor K, and in this short video presentation, we're going to take a look at how we go about performing active reconnaissance using Nmap. For this lab demonstration, I will be using one installation of VirtualBox with the extension pack, one virtual install of Kali Linux, and one virtual install of Metasploitable 2. For this lab, we will need to ensure that both of our VirtualBox adapters are set to host-only adapter. To do this, we go up to Devices, go down to Network Settings, and we ensure that we are attached to a host-only adapter. Do this for both the target and for the Kali machine. Next, we need to log into our target machine, Metasploitable 2, and ensure that we have the correct IP address. In this case, my IP address is 192.68.56.109. This is my IP address. During this demonstration, if you are following along, your IP address may differ. Now, to ensure that we have a successful lab, we're going to open up a terminal on my Kali machine, and we're going to type in ifconfig, hit enter, and we're going to ensure that our Ethernet 0 adapter is on the same network as our Metasploitable 2 target. And you'll see that my network IP for this machine, Kali, is 192.168.56. That means both of my machines can communicate and see each other. Active reconnaissance is also referred to as enumeration. Enumeration, in the context of cybersecurity, refers to the process of extracting information about a target system or network to gain a better understanding of its structure and potential vulnerabilities. The first scan that we should be running on any network using Nmap is the discovery scan. This is going to bring us all of the available targets on that network. Now, to do this, I'm going to type in Nmap space dash small letter s small letter n followed by the network IP address followed by a /24, which is referred to as the CIDR address. In this case, we're only going to be scanning that last octet, which is the octet for the host IPs. We're telling Nmap that it can ignore the first 3 octets of this network IP and only look at that last octet. That's what the /24 means. I'll go ahead and hit enter. Nmap quickly comes back with the results, and it says that it scanned 256 IP addresses and it discovered that 3 hosts were up. Now, the host that we're interested in is the 192.168.56.109 host, and that is our target machine. The next scan that we're going to run is referred to as the default scan, and we have identified our host, and we want to find out exactly what ports and what services are currently available on this particular target. To do this, we can just use the default scan of Nmap. We now have our results back, and we see that we have a large number of ports that are running a number of services. Our next scan is going to be used to determine the operating system that is currently running on that target machine. Along with the default scan, if we would like to learn some information about the operating system that's currently running on our target machine, we can add in the -O command. We follow that up with the IP address of our target, and we hit enter. And so with the results of this particular scan, you see that we get the results not just from the discovery, but we also determine the operating system and some other information that pertains to it. Using the discovery command, we were able to identify a number of open ports. Now, one of those open ports is FTP. Now we would like to discover some more information about this service that is running on port 21, and to do this, we can combine some other commands with Nmap to get a further understanding of how we can enumerate the services that are running on this target. Let's see how we do that. With this next command, we're telling Nmap that we want it to pull up as much information as it can about the FTP service that is running on port 21. To do this, we've told it to use verbose and to get us as much information as it possibly can during this process. We follow that up with the -P21, which indicates that we want it to scan port 21, and we want it to do a full service scan using the -S command. Now the -T4 means to do this as quickly as possible. Let's go ahead and hit enter. By putting Nmap into verbose mode, it is going to load 46 scripts that it's going to use for this particular scanning. So we got the results back, and it looks like this FTP service is running an older version of a very secure FTPD 2.3.4 that is also running on a Unix platform. And so we've gotten some more information, but we can still continue to enumerate still further and find out some information about this FTP service that is running on our target machine. In our next command, we're going to get rid of the verbose mode and the T4 for quick scanning, and we're going to replace the T4 with the -A. The -A option executes OS detection, version detection, script scanning, and traceroute. It is very intrusive, and therefore it can be detected by IDS. Let's go ahead and run our scan. We see that the FTP server is running not secured, and that we have a number of vulnerabilities, and one of those is anonymous access, and the anonymous access allowed us to connect using our Nmap scanner. We can refer to the FTP and some other services that are running on this target as low-hanging fruit, and we can see that they're going to be able to probably be exploited without a whole lot of effort, but we're going to keep on with our discovery process and move forward and looking at some of those other services and ports. Now we're still looking for vectors that we can use to access this target, and one of those is probably going to be port 139 and 445, which are running SMB. So we see that they are currently right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue on with our Nmap scan and see what information we can find out about port 139 and port 445. Now Nmap has some default scripts that we can use to scan SMB and see exactly how vulnerable it is. Now to do this, we're going to use again the -A command with Nmap, followed by a -P for port 139 and then a comma, and we're going to add in port 445 so it will scan both ports at the same time. Follow that up by the IP address of the target. Let's hit enter. So as we're going through these results, we want to take notes and make sure that we identify possible vectors for our attack. And we see that the SMB is running on a version of Linux using Samba 3.0.20. That is something that we want to note because we're going to look for a vulnerability later on that we can use to exploit SMB on our target machine. We see that there are some other vulnerabilities as well. The account for guest is actually enabled. Okay, so we have an authentication level of user. Challenge response is supported, but message signing is disabled. So we have some other things going on here that we can also take advantage of. Nmap also comes with a very powerful scripting engine, and there are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of scripts that we can go out on the internet and we can find that have been created for Nmap. They're very easy to get a hold of, and some of these scripts are going to be able to help us enumerate some of this low-hanging fruit that we're currently encountering on our target, and that includes SMB. So I'm going to run this Nmap script called smb-enum-users.nse, and I'm going to identify that I want the script to look at port 139, 445 and scan both ports at the same time, and then I follow that up with the IP address of my target. Hit enter. Nmap comes back and it tells us, or it presents to us, all of the accounts that are currently able to use SMB, and we see that our default user MSFadmin is one of those accounts, and that account is currently enabled. We're going to continue on with enumerating SMB, and this time we're going to be looking for those SMB shares that people have access to on that target machine. Again, I'm going to be using the Nmap scripting engine, and this time I'm going to be using the smb-enum-shares.nsc script. And this time I'm only going to be looking on port 445. Follow that up with the IP address of the target, and let's hit enter. Our results have come back, and we see that we have a number of shares that have anonymous access, easy to get into. One is located up inside of the temp folder on the C drive. We also have a number of administrative shares, and the administrative shares are identified because they are followed by a $sign. That's in an attempt to hide them. Administrative shares are not usually easily accessed by default, and so they put a $sign next to the name, and that makes it invisible. We also have some more anonymous access up here on a particular folder called Oh No's. So in this lab, we learned about enumeration of a target using Nmap. In our next lab, we will begin researching and looking for exploits to run against the low-hanging fruit of our target machine that we discovered using enumeration. I'm Professor K. Thanks for watching.